Hi, this is Misha, and bringing you today something a little different. Straight from the 80s and Red Dawn. Now I wonder if anyone's going to say that I didn't have my sights up. It's true, I didn't. So, try that again, huh? Oh, better put the safety on.
Sweeping the cameraman.
Definitely. With a rocket launcher. Oh, sorry. A recoilless rifle. Yes. This is the Russian Soviet RPG-2. And just in case you didn't catch that comedy, guys, this is totally demilled. You can see the hole here. And it has a rod. They put them in different places. Where is it on this one? Oh, no rod. No. Yeah, it's further back here. There's a rod welded through the tube. So, it's perfectly safe, guys. Plus, I think you could probably tell if this was loaded because it would have a giant warhead hanging out the front. These were sold off last year by Centerfire, Numeric, and a few other places. And they're just really neat pieces of Cold War history. These are original RPG-2 rocket launchers, as we would call them. They have been demilled to ATF specifications. These aren't trainers or anything or dummies. This is real steel, wood, the whole enchilada. And this is just a neat little kit. And we had a few come in the store, so I thought I would just talk about it a bit. Normally we do guns on this channel, but made an exception here for something a little different in the military. Well, as you would guess by the name, the RPG-2 was the second in the series. The original RPG, the RPG-1, was developed at the very tail end of the Great Patriotic War, World War II. Unfortunately, they had a few bugs to work out, which they did, but by the time they had, tank armor had really increased to the point where the RPG-1 was pretty ineffective. It could do about 150 millimeters of armor, and most tanks of that day were right about that limit or even starting to surpass it. So by the time the RPG-1 was ready to go and went into production, it was really obsolescent. Around 1947, they began to develop the RPG-2. Obviously the war was over, so there wasn't as much haste, but the Cold War was starting to loom and really started to get hot in some areas, such as Berlin, that year. Now, I've joked that the Kalashnikov is basically a tool. It's almost like a garden tool, like a hoe or a shovel. Well, the RPG-2 was literally designed, or its designing was put under charge of the Soviet Agricultural Authority. So it really was designed by people in charge of making farm implements. It's a very simple weapon. It's essentially just a giant tube. But it's more compact and handy than the original. This would fire a 40mm rocket-propelled grenade with about an 80 to 82mm warhead. And it could tackle armor up to about 180 to even 200 millimeters, which by the standards of the late 1940s was pretty good. It could get through most of the front armor of tanks and pretty much all the rear and side armor, and not to mention do damage to tracks. So it was pretty modern for its day and time. This was adopted in 1949, so it was under manufacture just in time for the Korean War. It's, as you saw from the very beginning, we have flip-up sights, simple but effective. We have sling attachment loops here. We do have a cross pin style safety. We have wooden grips that are kind of reminiscent of the Tokarev. Single action trigger with the hammer. Bloop. This section is removable if you press out a push pin here. This was a reusable device. We even have a two-piece wooden heat shield to protect the shooter when firing or when in extreme hot or cold environments. This was typically issued with the two-man team. You had the initial rocket launcher, the Rocketeer, and you had a second guy who supported him and carried grenades and other accessories along with his. Here we have an original backpack. Unbuckles here. It also has side fastening straps. Open it up and we could store several grenades inside. This one also has a nice shoulder strap with a pretty actually comfortable and thick pad. Not bad for the standards of the time. This is all Russian stuff. I believe this was made at Tula. Here we have the Sling it would have been issued with. This would buckle through, much like on a lot of late Mosin or PPS H41, PPS 43 slings. And here we have a removable end cap cover. And it would fasten around here to secure it. The other end is pretty much exactly the same. It's a little longer, but neat, simple sling. It is even adjustable. So you could tell that they had the intention of making this a reusable device. Finally, with this kit, we have a cleaning rod. It folds up as you see. Let's see if I can do this. I'm not very practiced at rocket launcher devices. Let's see, one of these unscrews. Guess it's this one. There we go. See, they're kind of all held in. If I screw it the right way, right guys? Whoop. It's pretty much your typical. That's grimy. I'm not gonna screw those in, guys, because it needs really thorough cleaning before it gets screwed together completely. Not surprising considering the age of this. Come on, there we go. At least a little bit to show you. There we go. Like I said, I don't want to screw it down. This does rotate here with the handle for cleaning your very large bore. The RPG-2 is very, very iconic. Not only were these made in the Soviet Union and sold, given away to many communist allies, they were produced under license in Egypt as the PG-7, in Yugoslavia as the, I can't remember the name right now, in China is the Type 56, because apparently 56 is just simply their favorite number. And probably most importantly for America, in Vietnam is the B-40 and then later B-50, B standing for bazooka. I say most importantly because this would be what a lot of American soldiers would go up against during the Vietnam War, along with original Soviets like this one. So America had quite a bit of experience with these during the 60s and 70s, and they really proliferated around the world. And this would be frontline in Russia until the early 60s, but by that time it was being eclipsed by the RPG-7, which was a further modernization and development of the RPG-2 here. So the RPG-7 is perhaps even more iconic, but I don't have one of those to show you today, sorry. There was even a night version with an early style night vision scope optic. It was known as the RPG-2N, kind of in keeping with the night versions of all the various Kalashnikovs. So they obviously took this very seriously, and it was a very good frontline weapon for the 1950s. But as it happened with the RPG-1, armor would improve, and it was becoming more and more dated as we got further into the Cold War, into the 70s and so on. Well, again, just wanted to share something I thought was quite interesting with you folks. Hope you enjoyed it. It's not a terribly heavy thing. It's about 6 pounds unloaded and about 10 pounds with a rocket in it. It's about 46 inches long with the rocket in and all that. It really is quite light for its size. Well, if you liked the video, we'd appreciate it if you could click like. And if you'd like to help support the channel, especially so we can get to the range more often, we'd appreciate it if you'd check out our Patreon page. This is Misha, and please tune in again next time for more hopefully unique and interesting videos.